This week we are going to read a News to You article, and our theme is going to be based around the article we're going to be talking about. This week our topic is going to be more of a science-related topic. It's going to be about the Earth and climate change and a young lady named Greta Thunberg. I don't know if you guys have heard of her before. She's a young girl who is an activist, and she talks a lot about protecting the earth and making sure we take care of the planet. But before we read the article, I do want to go over some of our vocabulary words for the week. One word that we're going to be talking about, let me see if I can zoom in just on that word right now, is the word protect. Okay, and we talk about protecting people, we talked about protecting animals, and this week we're really going to be talking about protecting our planet. And when we talk about protecting, it means we're trying to keep it safe from harm. So when we talk about protecting people, we're talking about protecting people from harm. In this case, we're talking about keeping our earth and keeping our earth from harm because sometimes we do a little bit of damage to our planet by not taking very good care of it. So you might hear the word protect a lot in this article. Okay. Our next word, the word earth. Okay. Earth is a place. We live on planet Earth. There's a picture of it right on your screen. And the good old US of A right there. The Earth is the third planet from the sun, okay? We have a few planets before us, but Earth, we are going to be focusing on this planet specifically in our article, the planet we live on, so planet Earth. Our next word is a describing word. We're going to be talking about the word important. And we use this word all of the time in school. We talk about people that are important to us, things that might be important to us, places that might be important to us. We use this all the time. I'm sure we use this word every single day in school. But just as a refresher, when we talk about something that's important to us, we are talking about something that is necessary or of great value, something that's very special, okay? So if we're talking about something important, it's something special, it has a lot of value to us, we treasure it, all right? Most of the time when we talk about important stuff in school, we might talk about people who are important to us. I know we talk about that a lot, but we might hear the word important in our article. And the last phrase, vocabulary word that we're going to talk about is a little more of a complicated one that you guys might have heard of in the news or on the news before, and it's climate change, okay? Our climate in general is the weather, the type of weather that we have. Now, where we live, if you look outside today, Monday, we have a lot of rain right now. But sometimes we have nice sunny weather, we might have rainy weather, we might get snowy weather. So we have lots of different types of weather in New York. But in other places, they might only have one really type of weather. Like in the desert, it's usually just hot and dry. Or someplace where it's really, really cold, you might just see cold, snowy weather. But climate really is the type of weather that we have. Climate change, though, that means the change in our usual weather over a long period of time. So we're going to be talking about how our climate, the weather we normally have, how it's starting to change. And that may not be a good thing, okay? So we're going to read our article, but those are our 4 vocabulary words, all right? And I'm going to post these on the Google Classroom, so if you want to review the vocabulary words again during the week, that would be wonderful, and just go over them with whoever's working with you. So I'm going to move this screen down a little, and I'm going to try to zoom in on the article just a little bit. All right. Okay, so we're going to read about Greta Thunberg and Earth. And this is just a little picture up here of the young lady Greta. We're going to watch one of her speeches later on in the video. Many people want to protect Earth. Okay? We want to keep it safe. We don't want anything bad to happen to the planet we live on, right? Many people celebrate protecting Earth on Earth Day. And normally in school, we read about Earth Day. We might do an Earth Day project, and we talk about that a lot. Well, Earth Day is on April 22nd. So next Wednesday is Earth Day. So maybe we can do a little special project at home for Earth Day. One person who wants to protect Earth is a girl named Greta Thunberg. Okay. Greta was born in a country called Sweden, which is all the way in Europe. Greta is 17 years old. So she's close to some of your guys' age. She might be the same age as you. She might be a little bit older or a little bit younger, but you guys are around the same age as Greta. She's 17. Greta has Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's syndrome is a kind of autism, all right? And I know we read an article just a few weeks ago about shoes for autism. April is Autism Awareness Month. We go to school with lots of friends that have autism. We've read about books about autism. We do talk about different disabilities. Autism is one of them. And Asperger's syndrome is on the spectrum of autism, okay? People with autism, they may think differently, and sometimes their social skills are a little different, okay? But a lot of times people that have autism, they think a little differently. And we've talked about this before. There is nothing wrong with being different. It's actually what makes you really special. Greta, now even though she has autism, she's got Asperger's syndrome, she will give speeches about climate change. And talking in front of a group of people and giving a speech is not easy, but she does this all of the time. She learned about climate change at 8 years old. So when she was in school, she learned all about climate change, okay? Climate is the usual weather in a place, okay? Think about our climate. What kind of weather do we get in New York? Do we get rain? Do we have snow? Do we get lots of sunshine? Is it always hot? Is it cold? Or do we have a mix of different types of weather in New York? Just think about that. Many people think the climate, so they think our weather is starting to change. They think climate change could be dangerous for Earth. And we know that dangerous means it's not safe. And it's our job. We want to protect and keep our Earth safe. So we don't want to do anything that might be dangerous for the planet. Climate change may bring lots of flooding, which is when it rains too much and the water rises and rises. It might bring lots of thunderstorms, which I know most of us are not a big fan of. It could bring wildfires and much more. There's a lot of different types of weather that changing the climate change could bring about that's not particularly safe for us. However, we can do something about this. And Greta, she wants to help stop climate change. Greta wants government leaders to help too. She started protests in front of government buildings. Protesting is kind of when you are speaking up against something or speaking up for something. You might see people with signs in front of a building or a place trying to bring attention and awareness to the issues at hand. Have any of you guys ever been in a protest or seen people protesting? I know I've never protested before, but I have definitely seen people doing it. Now, students around the world heard about Greta. They wanted to help stop climate change. Those students started to do protests too. So now it's not just Greta and students in Sweden where she's from, because remember, she lives in Sweden. Students all around the world are doing this too. So those students have started to do protests as well. Greta, she's made a big name for herself, and she started to meet with leaders. Now she meets with leaders around the world. So she's talking to some pretty important people all over the globe about climate change. Greta talks to the leaders about climate change. I could have written this. She talks about how leaders can protect Earth. Greta asks leaders to write laws. Okay, remember, laws are a set of rules that we use to help keep people safe and to keep our planet safe and to keep animals safe. They're there to protect us. So she wants laws to protect Earth. Okay, Greta wants leaders to write laws that will help keep our Earth safe. Greta asks other people to protect Earth too. All right? Greta thinks everyone can help. Greta has ideas to protect Earth. Greta has asked people not to fly on planes. Okay? Planes can make pollution. Okay? Pollution is pretty much just a lot of dirt and smog in the air. It's not good for us to breathe in, and it can ruin and kill animals and plants, and we don't want to do that. Pollution is something that can hurt the earth. So one way Greta thinks people can help protect the earth is by not going on planes as much or stopping flying altogether. Protecting the earth is important to Greta Thunberg. Greta is brave. Okay, she's a brave young lady. She gives a lot of speeches and she stands up for what she believes in, even if people don't always agree with her. She meets with many adult leaders. She talks about something important to her. And I want you guys to think again, this question for you guys just to think about, or you can talk to whoever is with you. Why is protecting the earth important? Why should we keep our planet safe? Okay? Why is that important? So I want you to think about that. I'm going to play a brain pop video. I know we all miss those, on climate change, because that's what Greta is really fighting against, all right? So we are going to watch a brain pop video about climate change, and then I found one of Greta's really famous speeches that we are going to watch as a group, okay? So let me get brain pop up. I don't know if I can make this big, but I will try. All right.
Every year for more than a
Sorry,
century.
guys. Let me start that over.
Sure is cold, even for January. Dear Tim and Moby, it's freezing outside. Whatever happened to global warming? From Walter. Hi, Walter. Global warming is about the average temperature across the entire planet. We've been tracking that number every year for more than a century. Since then, it's climbed by about 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit. No. A warming planet doesn't mean there won't be any cold days, or that there won't be any more snowstorms, or even that your town can't have a cooler summer than usual. Those are all examples of weather, what's going on outside in one place at one particular time. Global warming is a change in the world's climate, the pattern of weather over long periods. Each of these yearly temperature readings is an example of weather. They're kind of all over the place. We can't predict if one year will be hotter or colder than the next. But the overall trend is unmistakable. That is global warming. It's caused by certain gases in our atmosphere. The more of these gases there are, the hotter the planet gets. When sunlight hits the Earth, land and water soak up some of that energy. A lot more reflects off the surface as heat. Gases like carbon dioxide and methane act as a barrier. They're really effective at absorbing and redirecting heat. That's why we call them greenhouse gases. Like a greenhouse, they let sunlight through easily, then trap the heat that bounces off the surface. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Without it, our planet would be a cold, lifeless rock. Until recently, natural processes kept the level of greenhouse gases just right. But human activity is throwing off this delicate balance. Our modern world depends on burning fossil fuels. Coal, oil, and gas supply the energy that makes our lives so comfortable and convenient. But they release huge amounts of carbon dioxide, a powerful greenhouse gas. Large-scale food production is another source. We keep billions of cows and other livestock for meat and dairy. Their digestion produces methane. It traps 20 times more heat than carbon dioxide. The problem isn't only about adding greenhouse gases. We're also destroying Earth's ability to remove those gases from the air. Chopping down forests, for example, the average tree absorbs 50 pounds of carbon dioxide each year. As we cut them down, we lose their natural cooling effect. And in many places, forests are cleared through burning. That releases all the stored up carbon back into the air. Right, industry and agriculture are amplifying the greenhouse effect. The result is rapid warming. Earth's climate has changed before. We know that from studying air bubbles trapped in ancient ice. The ice cores tell us that the temperature continually rises and falls. In other words, Earth's climate is constantly changing. But there's a difference. This natural rate of climate change has been slow. A shift of a couple degrees ordinarily takes thousands of years. That gives organisms time to adapt to changing conditions. One species might move to a milder climate, another could evolve new traits. Man-made warming is moving way too fast for life to keep up with it. At this rate, thousands of species will go extinct by the end of the century. Yeah, 1 or 2 degrees may not seem like much. But our planet is a fragile, living system, just like the human body. Raising temperatures even a couple of degrees can have a huge impact. Our oceans are currently absorbing most of the additional warmth. This is destroying coral reefs that are home to thousands of species. The polar ice caps are melting, causing sea levels to rise. That'll be an enormous problem for coastal cities. Yep, in many parts of the world, ice is a major part of the water supply. As mountain glaciers melt, these places will experience more droughts and food shortages. Plus, rising temperatures lead to extreme weather patterns. Simply put, warmer air has more energy. That means stronger storms and hurricanes, not to mention heavier rainfall and floods. In some places, it will mean more severe blizzards. In other regions, rainfall will dry up and forests will turn to desert. That's why many scientists prefer the term global climate change over global warming. Because temperature alone may not be the most noticeable effect. I know, it's a pretty scary situation, but there are solutions. Individually, you can help by conserving energy, like by walking or biking instead of getting a ride to places, by using more efficient light bulbs and switching them off when you leave a room, and even taking shorter showers. The most important step is that we move away from fossil fuels. Renewable energies like solar and wind add no carbon to the atmosphere. That's why countries are investing in these technologies like never before. Hey, you know what? The answer to everything isn't lasers. All right, let's hear the laser idea.
I don't know about you guys, but I really, really miss watching Ted and Moby with you guys. My favorite robot ever. Again, that was just a quick little video about climate change. And while it can be a scary topic because, we are maybe hurting our planet a little bit, we can do some things to change that and to help keep our planet safe again and protect it. We will maybe talk about that more later on in the week. I will find an activity for us to do about how we could be more proactive about protecting our Earth. And we will talk more about Earth Day as well. I am going to pull up Greta's, one of her speeches, okay, that we're going to watch together. So, yep, enjoy. This is just a almost 4-minute video where Greta, who is a young lady who is talking to world leaders about climate change. And this is something she feels very passionately about. It's something that's very important to her, okay?
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you are doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop the video here for right now. Again, that was just a quick clip of Greta Thunberg's, one of her speeches. That was probably the first one I ever heard of hers. But as you can see, she gets very emotional during her speech because this is a topic about climate change and protecting our Earth that's very important to her. Whether you agree with Greta or you don't, this is important for us to talk about and learn about. I'm going to ask you guys just a few think questions, and that is something that you can just talk about with someone at home, or if you just want to think about it, to yourself. It's always good to ask questions and answer questions, and we do this at school. So the first question I'm going to ask you about has to do with a vocabulary word that we read about earlier in this lesson, which was the word important. And I want you to think about what is something that is important to you and why. Okay? It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be something that you enjoy doing. It could be something at home that's really important to you. But again, important is something that is special to you. It has great value to you. For me, something that's very important is my family. And my family is important to me because I love them. They support me. I support them. And I enjoy being around them. They make me happy. They're very important to me. Just like you guys are important to me. I love working with you. I miss you guys so, so very much. You all make me very happy, and I really do enjoy the time I get to spend with you guys at school. So my family and students, you guys are very important to me. But I want to know, what is something that's important to you? And at the end of this lesson, if you want to comment in our comments section of our Google Classroom, please, please, please feel free to do so. Tell me what is important to you and why. There are two more questions on here that I'm going to read to you guys, and you can answer them if you want to, but the one question I really want us to focus on is, what is something that's important to you and why? The next question was, think of a time when you've been brave. We talked about how Greta is a very brave young lady. Think about a time where you had to be brave, okay? And the final question that if you want to answer with someone at home, or if you just want to think about it yourself, is, what would you give a speech about? If you had to talk in front of a group of people, think about a topic that you would want to talk about and why. So you might want to think of something that's important to you that you could give a speech about, okay? But again, if you guys want to comment in our Google Classroom about what is something that's important to you and why, I would really appreciate that. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now is we're going to reread the article, and then I'm going to show you guys how to, hopefully, fingers crossed I did this right, forgive me, excuse me, show you how to do the worksheets that I kind of adapted so you can do them online to do your review questions, and I will show you guys how to do that in a minute. But let's reread our article one more time. And our article again is called Greta Thunberg and Earth. Many people want to protect Earth. Many people celebrate protecting Earth on Earth Day. Earth Day is April 22nd. One person who wants to protect Earth is Greta Thunberg. Greta was born in Sweden. Greta is 17 years old. Greta has something called Asperger's syndrome. And Asperger's syndrome is a kind of autism. People with autism may think differently. Greta gives speeches about climate change. She learned about climate change at 8 years old. Climate is the usual weather in a place. Many people think the climate is changing. They think climate change could be dangerous for Earth. Climate change may bring floods, storms, wildfires, and much more. Greta wants to help stop climate change. Greta wants government leaders to help too. She started protests in front of government buildings. Students around the world heard about Greta, and they wanted to help stop climate change. Those students started to do protests too. Greta started to meet with leaders. Now she meets with leaders all around the world. Greta talks to leaders about climate change. She talks about how leaders can protect Earth. Greta asks leaders to write laws. She wants the laws to protect Earth. Greta asks other people to protect Earth too. So not just leaders, but other people can help protect Earth too. Greta thinks everyone can help. Me, you guys, your parents, your friends, your family. Greta has ideas to protect Earth. Greta asks people not to fly on planes. Planes can make pollution. Pollution can hurt Earth. Protecting Earth is important to Greta Thunberg. Greta is brave. She meets with many adult leaders. And remember, she's a teenager just like you guys. She talks about something that's important to her, which is climate change. Why is protecting Earth important? Okay. So normally after we read the article and we talk about it, we read it a couple of times, we do our review page during the week, our review questions. And this is our review questions right here. Okay. I'm going to show you guys on Google Classroom. If you go to, all right, so if you're on the main page, it might look a little different than this, but if you go to the classwork section, I'm going to be putting under our ELA assignments, I'm going to have a category. This was last week's, and it's going to have the article. I'm going to attach the article in case you want to read it again. I'm going to have some other pages to go along with it too. But I'm also going to assign you guys, I've made worksheets for you guys, and I'm using your initials. So look, the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your last name. And you each will have a worksheet. And again, these are from last week. But you're going to each have your own individual worksheet, and you're going to click on your worksheet, which I already did. I just clicked on someone's worksheet randomly. And it's going to pop up on your screen. And normally at school, we let you guys answer it however you want, whether you want to say yes or no to a choice when you go through them. If you'd rather just use your A, B, C page, or if you want to point to it, say the correct answer using the vocabulary words attached to it. However you want to answer is fine. But I did make it so that the first column we know there's always choice A, the second column is always choice B, and the final column, the final choice is choice C. So when you hear the question and you're doing your paper, you should be able to type your answer in. Now, if this does not work for you guys at home, if for some reason it's just not working, please let me know. But I did write and made a text box for you guys that I hope works, where it says type your answer. And if you click on it, you should be able to type your answer. So you can put in the letter if you want to just pick a letter A, B, or C. If you want to type in the full answer, you can do that however you want, but it should work for each box, okay? Again, please look for your initials. Each one of you will have a worksheet with your initials. That way you don't do your friend's work for them. So yeah, you guys should be able to do that. I'm going to go over the questions. I'm just going to read them to you like we normally do at school, but you can do your worksheet with someone kind of on your own time so you can fill it out. I'm not going to go over the answers yet, just because you may not be doing your worksheet with this video. But question 1 says, what is this paper about? So what did we read about? Did we read about A, Greta Thunberg and Earth, B, coronavirus, or C, Stress Awareness Month? So again, when you pull up your worksheet on Google Classroom, this isn't the Google Classroom worksheet, this is the website worksheet. There will be a box here normally for you that you can type your answer into, just like on this one from last week. Okay? Question 2. Who gives speeches about climate change? So who did we read about? Did we read about A, Aretha Franklin, B, Greta Thunberg, or C, Abraham Lincoln? And then there'll be a box here on your edited worksheets that will be up on the Google Classroom where you can type in your answer. Question 3 is a where question. Where was Greta Thunberg born? All right, she was born in another country. Was it A, Israel, B, Ecuador, or C, Sweden? Question 4. What does Greta Thunberg want to protect? What are we trying to keep safe here? Does she want to protect A, Earth, B, stars, or C, the sun? Question 5. What is something that can hurt Earth? Is it A, plants, B, pollution, and C, rocks? What might hurt the Earth? And the last question is, what can leaders write to help protect Earth? Should they write A, recipes, B, a code, or C, laws? So you guys will have your own individual worksheets on Google Classroom that you can do these questions and type your answers in, and I should be able to see them once you do them. Again, also, if you want to answer that think question about what is something that's important to you and why, and you want to type that into the comments section somewhere on the class board, please do that. Feel free to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this article. This is something that we'll talk about more during the week. I know next week we'll talk about it a little bit when we read about Earth Day, but I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will be posting more videos, more stories, more resources for you guys during the week, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!